Okay, so we've discussed about this GDPR setting and how it's not very user friendly and it's not very pretty on your sign up forms. It takes up on a very simple form, it takes up actually nearly half the page. Now, if you're having this on a website at the bottom of a blog or something like that, then you want a very small, nice looking, simple sign up form for people to fill in. And yet you do want it to be GDPR compliant. So hopefully by now you have a privacy, cookie and GDPR policy on your website, and you've created that using IU Bender or something like that. So, and you've let people know about how you're going to use your information. You let people know that you are going to market to them. So what people need to now do is we need to create a form that people agree to the terms and conditions in the privacy policy, and then carry on with the process. So here's how I do it. Now, just to reiterate again, I am not a GDPR expert, and I've had conflicting advice from multiple GDPR experts. GDPR is so open to interpretation, and it's really difficult to know whether you're actually adhering to it or not. But if you are, I believe if you are attempting to adhere to it, then you're not going to find yourself in any hot water whatsoever. As long as you're being honest with your business and you're being responsible with what data you're collecting off people, you've got no issues whatsoever. You are not going to find yourself in any bother with the ICO. Right, so how do we actually do it ourselves? So I'll show you the process that I do. So under audience, we'll go back to our sign up forms. Let me just go to settings first, audience name and defaults. And let me turn GDPR off. So this is currently how the sign-up form, the hosted sign-up form looks. It's long. It's got this horrible information here. So I'm just going to turn that off and save. And then I'm going to go back to sign-up forms. Go to the form builder. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to choose a radio button. And as you can see, it's come up at the bottom there. So I'm going to call this data use agreement. I'm going to give it a field tag of data use. I'm going to make it required. I'm going to leave it as visible. And I'm going to have just one option. And that one option, I am going to call it, I agree to the data use as set out in the privacy policy at www.lexiart.co.uk/privacy. And I'm going to click on save. Okay, so this is what we've got now. Spell that right. Lexiart.co. So basically what I've got on my privacy policy on my website is all the transparent information about how I use people's data that I collect. I only collect relevant data. The data is secure, and it's secure on Mailchimp, and there's a link to the Mailchimp privacy practice, so people can read that. I will use the data to contact you on occasions about services that I believe are relevant to the offers that you've already accepted. So basically, people join my list, get an offer, and I will then send them emails out about services that I consider relevant to them based on the offer that they've requested. So if somebody's interested in websites, I will send them information on websites. If somebody's interested in Mailchimp training, I will send them information on Mailchimp training. Also, people can unsubscribe at any time, and that's done anyway in Mailchimp. There's always an unsubscribe link at the bottom of the emails. So this form here, so this basic radio button, basically says that, if you want to join my list, if you want to get the offer that I'm offering you, then you have to agree to these terms and conditions. You have to agree to the data use as set out in my privacy policy. I tell them where the privacy policy is. They can go and read it. And if they do agree to that, then they click on this. So they've got a positive action. They click on this, and then they can sign up for the form. If they don't click on this, they don't get on the form because it is a required field. If they don't like the data use terms and conditions in my privacy policy, then they don't get the offer that I am offering them, because the offer is fair exchange of your email address for this offer, this piece of information that I've created. It's fair exchange, and if people don't want to be contacted for further information, then I'm not going to give them my free offer. We create these offers in order to sort of promote sales and market our business with fair use, without being spammy or anything like that. If we're doing it okay, then that's an absolute fine thing to do. So this is how I do it. I create this radio button, and I give it wording to this effect, and then I give it the the data use as set out in the privacy policy, www.lexiar.co.uk/privacy. And that's there. People have to check that in order to move forward. And it keeps you GDPR compliant. So if we just save all that and look at the difference it makes on the form, it's a lot tidier, it's a lot smaller. It really doesn't take up a lot more space either. Especially if we decide we're just going to have, if we're just going to collect first name, we're starting to narrow it down into a nice little sign-up form that's not going to intrude on the bottom of a landing page or a blog post on your website. So that's how I do it. That's how I create, that's how I stay GDPR compliant, by using a simple radio form and keeping my pages looking clean, uncluttered, and fit for purpose as well. So maybe you want to do that too. Get that on your forms, get it signed, get it on there, and make sure you're GDPR compliant, so that when we do create our proper sign-up forms, you can start getting people on your list properly and effectively.